It's time for the Nailsin ratings again, and going to talk about The Flash, titled, the episode titled The Icicle Cometh, which is quite the comic book-like title, especially like Spider-Man and stuff like that. Speaking of Spider-Man, the original Icicle, I believe, was an Earth 2 villain, actually. But you know, he's a nice guy. Killer Frost is a nice girl. It makes sense that you could do a story where they're related. And yes, they are. We'll get into that. But anyway, Icicle kind of had this look, outfit to him that kind of reminded me of the Green Goblin. And it was like that, you know, medieval elfin-looking style stuff, with the hat and everything. But of course, it was all white because he's ice. So the final revelation of the mystery concerning Caitlin Snow's father is that he was looking for a cure for his ALS, and it turns out she had the genetic markers for it as well. Thus, the experiments with cryogenics, which leads to the creation of the ice powers in both him and her. Yes, of course. Can you guess? Yes, he's the Icicle. But apparently a side effect of the experiment creates a multiple personality disorder. It just does. So his split personality or alter ego is the Icicle, and so it's pretty much the same thing happens to him that happened to her, and he wants to use her to create a serum that will completely block out his original self, so that he can just be Icicle forever, because he prefers to be Icicle, and that sort of thing. But by now, Killer Frost has learned to love Caitlin, which is loving herself, and her extended family, with the Flash family, and she won't stand by and let them get hurt, you know. So that's kind of how it ends up, and that's pretty much wraps up the story there. There was the other plots going on with the mother-daughter relationship, and it was more for comedic relief than seriousness, but it carries on the story, and so on and so forth. And the cicada story, with the little clues here and there leading up to where they need to go. And so all in all, yet another good, adequate episode. It's not the great heights, as I keep referring to, like the time bomb episode, which is why I'm hesitant to give one a 5 out of 5 stars on a show, because it didn't reach that great height of excellence. But this deserves a 5 out of 5 stars, because it shows you how you're supposed to do a filler episode when you have to. So that's how it's done. It moves its plot along. It provides story that are interesting. It doesn't deviate into something you just slap together for a show, and then, we'll get back to the overall soap opera, which takes it out of its movement. That's not believable. So this one continues with the stories, and actually kind of resolves Caitlin's story to some extent. All the mysteries are pretty much solved here, yet Icicle escapes at the end. So he, I'm sure he'll be back, and possibly, I'm guessing, maybe, just maybe, he'll be forced to sacrifice himself to save Caitlin against Cicada. That might happen. I don't know. Even though he's not a meta created by the Enlightenment event from last season. So they're closing in on Cicada. They've located his daughter, who seems to be the reason, or motive rather, for what he's doing, and his hatred for metas, which he blames for the condition his daughter's in, and that sort of thing. And this mysterious doctor who wants to help him, and we'll find out what that's all about, I'm sure, when they resolve this story. But nevertheless, a good pacing, and of course the cast carries the show even when it's weak, and all that really comes to fruition for this. This is one of the first ones where you notice Joe is not there, and that's because the actor was injured on the set, and they've had to kind of shoot scenes around him, and there was a lot of scenes where he was just sitting down all the time. Well, that's because he hurt his back. I think his back hurt, something like that, but he hurt himself pretty badly to the point where he has to take a leave of absence. So they cleverly wrote it around, and they bring in his girlfriend, when they needed a police officer. Well, she's a district attorney, so good enough. So they worked around. They did some sort of comedy where they, and they kept it enough at a level where it's not too cheesy and maintain the flow of the story they're presenting. So well done, and I think a lot of shows could learn something from this one. The Flash is not a great high art. It's not up there with Better Call Saul or anything like that, for heaven's sakes. But out of the superhero shows, it is one of the best. I would have to say that the Daredevil series is probably the pinnacle. But the Flash is pretty much a close second, and quite different. It's more lighthearted and fun, and that sort of thing. But I can't stop recommending it, and sometimes I kind of back off of it because, again, it's not the greatest show on earth, but it's good. And there's a lot of shows that are slap jobs and getting lazy and beating a dead horse of repetitive plots, which Flash is guilty of as well. But I think this is just a good crew here, and it'll be interesting to see where they go. So there you go. The Icicle cometh and goeth. I'm sure he'll be back for The Flash. 5 out of 5 stars. And we'll see what happens next week. All right. Thanks for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe. And hey, while you're here, why not check out the link description below? That'll take you to my mini stores, which have plenty of goodies for you. Bye-bye. Say, friends, check out Nailsin Theater at sellfy.com/Nailsin. Yes, there you'll find my poor man Mystery Science Theater treatment of public domain movies that really deserve the treatment. Yes, you can head over there and check out the links to my trailers to such films on my YouTube channel. Yeah, you can preview them and then head over back to sellfy.com/Nailsin and purchase yourself some Mr. Nailsin treatments of movies. I'll be right there to guide you through it.